Many fans who are in this shit.
Hello and welcome to MDG Media. We are excited to be bringing you coverage of the Nine Hill Open 2023, 11th stop of the PDGA Euro Tour, held here in Talsi, Latvia. This is round 1 front 9 MPO feature card coverage, and really interesting and unique tournament that we have here for you. Taking place in September. After minor technical issues, we are pleased to be getting this final coverage of the 2023 season out and really showcase the top level of talent we see here. Getting our feature card started, Bohdan Aleksieiev, 938 player from Ukraine, making his MDG debut, I believe. As we'll see his skills brought to the stage. Roland Kour, a young man full of potential with a really skilled game. He's been on previous coverage before and has just a ton of potential as we see him grow both physically and as an athlete and skilled disc golfer. Noah Smithon, one of the top players from the UK, has great tight compact form, is really good at angle control and crafting his lines around the fairways and on the greens. A great player, an addition to this card. Fourth, Rainer's Balodis, 1007 rated player from Talsi, Latvia, your local legend. We'll see how much of an advantage his experience brings him here on home ground. A great feature card. As we get started here on hole number 1, a slightly uphill par 3 at 125 meters. You have this early tree on the right playing as a Mando left, with OB lining the right side and rough trees on the left. This is a big throw from a slightly raised tee pad off the floor, a small structure, and requires quite a big bomb to get all the way there up to the green. Some controlled distance required. Punch one down the middle. Likely a flex line with a slightly overstable disc shaping most naturally given the Mando and the distance required. Bohdan to get us started. Solid drive right up the middle. Didn't climb all the way up to give himself a putt, but a very accurate, good shot. We see Roland really ripping on this one, getting a significant amount of turn and a slightly late release to the right. Unclear if he came back. Noah going with some more understability and a ton of height, really trying to push this. And we see the huge turnover into late flex. A beautiful drive, putting him just outside the circle for a birdie putt here on hole 1. And Rainer's now getting a high flex line, also shaping really perfectly into center fairway. Looks as if he's circled 2 for his birdie approach or putt. You see Roland's lie here. Given the OB, this is going to be his third stroke. He'll be putting for bogey and goes a little bit long. Will certainly test his putting confidence here on the first. Bohdan very smooth, middle of the fairway, and gets it underneath the basket. Rainer's had that circle 2 look, and you see him give it a bid up the hill. Looks to have sat down. Noah now cashes the heart of the basket as it comes back out to him. I think him and all of us thought that was going to stick, and an unfortunate bounce off the pole back towards him. But I think a putt that he can feel all right about, even if the result stings. That is a smooth delivery from Roland there for bogey. Could have potentially been a big number very early, and great focus to find that out of the errant tee shot. Basically the best score he could get after having that as his lie, and a good comebacker there for Rainer's par. as we see some birdie chances, yet only one bogey and 3 pars for our card. Here we are on hole number 2, a par 4 at 133 meters. You have this initial uphill slope tunnel shot between the trees with both the height and width restricted. As you then crest the hill, you break out into this open field where you find the basket perched up atop this severely sloped green with one guardian hedge. Quite a beautiful hole and truly thematic to the 9-hill Open. See Bohdan get himself slightly overturned to the right, finds a tree but kicks back to center fairway. Very fortunate result. Noah here looking to punch the gap and finds top branches, but you see the pace and speed on that disc does fight through quite significantly. Should leave him with that backhand hyzer approach. Rayner's looking like he wanted an aggressively turned over line, starting on the left and using all of the width of the fairway. Unfortunately, it does not turn fast enough. And Roland there with a slight late release again on his second tee shot. A similar mistake to his first, just a little bit out to the right on the release. He finds the trees and is kicked right, although I think, yeah, has an open look here. Similar to Bohdan, who we see flexing this shot up and around. You see him pacing the hill to get a look, and that's a reasonable chance if he wants it. I think a very fair layup as well, all things considered. So now we see Roland's view, opting to go full hyzer. Does look to have fought within range of a long putt or short approach. Rayner's flexing it out as well. That late stability crashing him into the hillside. Unclear how close to the bottom he is. As we see all of our players using that right to left stability to control the distance. Roland flirting with the top. Looks to have hit it and sat down. And you can see why this green does encourage this from anything really outside the circle. And Rayner's unfortunately finding that guardian hedge. We go to Bohdan now, who wants it. And off the cage. Unclear if he sat down immediately or moved a bit, but a great putt there by Rayner's, knowing he needed that for par. And that putt, really solid, makes up for the fact that he hit the hedge, as if he was just laying that first one up, he would have tapped in for a 4, so very solid comebacker there. And you certainly see why this hole plays fairly difficultly. Here we are on hole number 3. Another par 4, looking uphill, 208 meters. A wide and expanding fairway. As you continue to fight the altitude and get as much distance as you can, it then begins to flatten out with a late right to left movement between these large guardian trees. You'll find the basket tucked away beyond the tree line. A very deceptive hole and a very difficult one to find the birdie. A 4 is a fantastic score here. Bohdan, we see just playing a stock hyzer. Noah potentially looking to flip this up just a little bit more, retaining that hyzer angle, but you see him get to the flat. That's a great spot, and that's indicative of where you want to be to try and attack on the second shot. We see Rayner's also playing the power hyzer. And he too finds it right up there, even more to the right side of the fairway, which will open up the second shot a bit more. And Roland looking to just almost be that flat part of the fairway. A very good placement shot. We saw Bohdan not particularly aggressive off the tee shot. Leaves him with more distance and still an uphill battle. We see that hyzer up, nose up hyzer rather, fade out on him. Roland hits this fighting hyzer as he tries to time the stability correctly through that late gap. And looks like it did filter to the beginning of the tree line, but will still likely be very obstructed. This is a really difficult angle to find. And we see Rayner's unfortunately cut off there from further progress by the inside corner. We go to Noah. Going to play this high and wide. And I like this as he finds that late stability. He too gets shut down. Just such an obstructed green and entrance to the green. Bohdan still with a lot of work to do out left fairway. He'll still be approaching the green on his fourth. Rayner's playing the nose down hyzer and just beautifully delivered to the green. Such fantastic control there on the angle and the pace. Bohdan continuing to battle his way to the green through the rough. Noah, solid placement, just has a straight look to the green. Gets a slight kick, but no worries there. He's in the circle. Roland looking to chop away at some of this distance between him and the green. Unfortunately, not much made there, and just going to the step putt now that he has an open line. Bohdan the first to putt. And he cashes it for bogey. You can see he likes that. Understandably, a great putt from him there. Very solid commitment. Noah as well playing this hole very cleanly. Just had solid shots all the way up to that short putt. Rayner's really just a technical, beautiful approach there. Maybe his experience on the course helping him from that difficult lie. Fantastic par save where he was after his second. Here we are on hole 4, an 80-meter par 3, once again uphill. Effectively a tunnel shot. You see a series of trees as well as the early gap that you need to hit. A lot of players will lean on some understability to try and craft their hyzer flip up here, get some ground play on this thin green, and hopefully slide on up. Hole 4 at only 80 meters, one of the easier holes, averaging a 2.64. Certainly, if you want to keep up with the field, could be our first birdie here for the feature card. Noah, low to the ground, but gets that solid ground play I mentioned, a lot of forwards movement, and that really didn't move very left despite being on hyzer the whole way. Just an absolute laser line by Rayner's Balodis. extremely smooth. Just precision angle control. Bohdan with a slightly more flat release that was also to that right side. Roland also playing the hyzer flip, oh so smooth. Also into bullseye. Some great shots there on a very technical shot. As we see, Noah has the putt for the scramble and he's good for the birdie. Really well done from the compromised stance to the slightly elevated basket. Bohdan in for par. As we see both Roland and Reyners tapping in their birdies. Perfect execution of the tee shot from both of those men. Here we see hole 5, an 82-meter par 3 with this early double mando, forcing players to hit the gap and once again control their angles tightly. You then get up into this wooded fairway, which leaves you a slight gap down the middle towards the green, where the basket's tucked away. A lot of players will shape either a backhand hyzer or a forehand anhyzer with some late stability. It's just about hitting the gap and then moving left. We see rapid fire shot. Getting the backboard for Noah Smithson, slowed down nicely by that tree, keeps him close. And we saw from Reyners there, a great looking line, just catches a little bit on the inside. Roland as well. You see, keeping it tight towards the end. You do have to then hit more gaps than if you push straight for just a moment and then go left, just like Bohdan has done here, offering him the widest of the gaps, and he too just goes a touch long, but very reasonable and solid shot, giving him a birdie look. We have Reyners up first. And Roland, with a healthy looking bid, finds the top cage. As we see Bohdan here, has a straddle line but gets it to the right. Is left with a little bit. Noah for his birdie. And he finds the right side, but once again, unfortunately, it does not stick. Perhaps a little off the pole there. Bohdan skips away with his par as well. Right now, Noah and Reyners matching the scores hole for hole, sitting at 1 under. Here you see the elevated tee pad of hole 6, a 91-meter downhill par 3, requiring players to craft first a straight flight then a soft left to right drifting movement before potentially finding some late stability. You can see this very tight corridor full of beautiful lush foliage and this basket perched atop the mound. We have Noah here up first. As I mentioned, has great angle control. One of his skills as a player, and very solid shot. Finds the tree at the end, kicking him towards the green for a little extra bonus. He looked to be playing that soft flex. We see Rayner's now getting his flight slightly underturned and looks to have kicked down left, one of the most difficult positions to scramble from. Roland here playing a hyzer flip, and although it was overturned, has all the distance pin high, certainly has a reasonable putt to the elevated basket. Bohdan still trying to find his first birdie of the round. As the Guardians prevent his full flight, might have a long look, but considering how elevated this basket is, a lot of players will opt to lay up without optimal putting circumstances. And a solid scramble there on that forehand and hyzer. Slides right on up. We go to Bohdan. Looks like he wants it. And potentially a half bid there. Trying to float it, keep it close. We give it the height. We go to Roland. Unable to manufacture that birdie putt, weaving between the trees. Noah, another chance for birdie, and he finds it right on the pole. Finds his second birdie through the last 3 holes, now finding his rhythm here. As we see a low-driven putt from Roland there. Did get a little bounce off the pole. And Rayner's also in. Only Noah finding the birdie here on 6. We are now on the daunting hole 7. A par 5, initially uphill, weaving through the trees. You have this Mando forcing you to the right side as the fairway, then has a sharp bend left going downwards. We see a lot of danger here on both sides as the tunnel continues. You then continue to a soft left where the fairway widens a little bit out into the field, but with a generous amount of trees still remaining, you need to hit precise lines all the way there and try to attack for the elusive 4. Noah does kick a left there, looking to push the Mando. You see some frustration from him. This shape does encourage a flex line or a stall shot to really try and push it. If you can hit the gap and then have a lot of leftwards movement, that is the most aggressive line, but you see that the reward comes with risk there. Rayner's going to the right side and kicking left. We'll see if Roland is able to hit the gap cleanly. And I believe missed the Mando just to the opposite side of the one he needed to go on. Looked very close. We will get confirmation on that. And Bohdan gets his drive up and through. Although he didn't find that leftwards movement towards the end, certainly hit the gap. Rayner's looks to chip away at this with a forehand now. And being on the right, it had slightly opened up the gap for him, but gets it a touch overturned, will be in the rough of the second tunnel. Smooth delivery there from Reyners. Got himself into the position off the scramble and hit that tunnel nicely. Noah looking to do the same here. And he needs that to slow down. Goes a touch too straight for too long. Came out very fast from the hand. We saw that was a zone he was throwing. Roland as well, as they need to hit this next bend. That is a picture-perfect shot to match the grade of the hill and use it to slow your disc down. Reyners looking at that forehand. Heiser flip, and he hits the cage. Just a nasty approach as he is hunting everything. Wow. We take another look at that. Gets it up to flat. Look at it right. It has the height. It has the line. And flips Ben there on the catch cam. Shout out to Ben. Bohdan here. Looking to manufacture, I believe, some sort of skip shot, seeing the height there, but pushed it too straight. Doesn't cut the corner and goes from rough to rough. Roland also opting for the forehand approach, plays a soft flex, slows down nicely. Noah going with an extremely high Anheuser from a patent pending stance and does get it slightly overturned, but out of the green, out of the rough end onto the green. Bohdan with the forehand off the knee does what he needs to do, and Noah blind to the basket there. Gives his upshot and looks for feedback. Roland securing his 5 there. For Reyners here, also putt for par. Really fantastic score considering he hit effectively first available and kicked off into the left. His second shot really salvaging his hole and then very clean from then onwards. Great par for Reyners. Bohdan taking the bogey. There's Noah there. Finds himself also with the bogey. Very difficult hole, that hole, averaging 5.29. We go here to hole number 8. A 197 meter par 4. You have OB lining the right side all the way along the tree line. You need to get a straight flying shot with finish to the right as you then try and push through this second bend to the fairway. We see it continue snaking between these large trees as the fairway narrows to a point. You want to get over this final crest where you find the basket well protected among the trees. Another very difficult birdie to find. Reyners bombing the forehand hyzer around the corner. Picture perfect placement. As we see, he gets the green flag. Gets it center fairway with solid progress. As long as you beat the first corner, you can move pretty much as far right as you can. And very fortunate outcome for Roland, catching 2 kicks back out after having it severely overturned. Noah playing a hyzer to the corner to try and position himself for the second shot, and he too catches the trees but finds himself safe. Bohdan much more conservative, seeing all those guys find trouble to the right. Gets his disc out there and to the left, opening up his angle for the second shot. See a nice high hyzer pushing, fades a little bit early, but certainly great progress for Bohdan there. Noah, slightly pinched, is going to have to manufacture a huge flex line, and as he goes for just that, finds a little bit too much on the way, but comes down very nicely. That will give him the chance to still try and secure his par. Roland as well. Doesn't find the full flex, but certainly solid placement. We see Rayners now looking to access the green. And so smooth. Hits the logs. He is parked. Some great skill and knowledge there from our local player. Noah playing the spike hyzer over the top. Gets caught up a little bit short. Going that high over that many trees uphill, really requiring a ton of extra power compared to the direct line. Roland with just a huge step putt. Very controlled approach to the green. Noah looking downhill from that range, simply opting to lay that one up. Bohdan potentially another time where he might be thinking about giving that a bid. He seems quite aggressive on the green. But hole 8 averaging 4.57, more than a half stroke over par. A really difficult birdie to find, and done just there by Rayners with 2 perfect shots and a tap in. Masterfully done. Unfortunately, some damage for Noah and Bohdan here. Here we are on hole 9, a 115-meter par 3. Once again, as we look uphill, you have OB lining the left side indicated by the white stakes. To the right side, significant trees and rough. As these players want to pump a drive up into this hill, they're then met with this late gap between the trees where you want to shoot over this mound and into the green, hopefully making your putt. And we see there from Rayners the forehand hyzer sneak out of bounds right. Pin high, but just the height was a bit too much there. Catches a lot of fade. And another OB right from Roland, but with the backhand slightly overturned. This late gap really requiring these guys to push straight the entire flight. And Noah just a touch low to get all the distance, but looked like it was very driven. Bohdan looked to be shaping that anhyzer, but finds himself in a lot of trouble after going OB left. Gives his upshot there, will be tapping in for the bogey. Noah here, just shy of hitting the gap off the tee. Gives his bid. As it looks to be the same, certainly for Roland, and Rayners needing to make this for the par save. And he drains it. Very nicely done to keep his scorecard bogey free in the tournament so far. as we see hole 9. Another hole averaging over par. Bohdan with the bogey. And Roland as well after that OB penalty off the tee. Front 9 is in the books. An exciting start here to the Nine Hill Open 2023. As we take a look at the standings through the front 9, Rainers Balodis, your current leader, local legend. In second place, Tom Vasietis. And in third, Noah, tied along with Bjorn and Igars. This is a tournament that doesn't have the biggest field, but there's a lot of really talented players here that we get to see as a result, which is fantastic. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to catch us on the back 9. We appreciate all of your support here on MDG Media. You can like, comment, subscribe, and even find us on Patreon if you wanted to continue to support European disc golf coverage. Thank you. See you there.